If you're interested in a career in cybersecurity, but you want to dip your toes in the water first to make sure if it's something you really want to pursue, then you'll want to stick around because in this video, I'm going to review the best cybersecurity course for beginners that I've come across. And it is free, so stay tuned. Hey folks, Richard Walls here, and if you're new to the channel, I'd like to welcome you. What this is all about is helping you with your professional branding, career development, and personal finance. Now, if that sounds like the kind of content you'd like to see a little bit more on a regular basis, make sure to subscribe down below and hit the notification bell right next to it so you get notified of when I post new videos. And it'd be a huge favor to me if you like what you see. Of course, do make sure to hit the like button down below. It helps me out quite a bit and it helps out the channel. So would very much appreciate it if you did that. Now with that out of the way, let's get to it. So if you're here, you're probably interested in cybersecurity as a career path, and you might even be looking into degrees or certifications to help pivot your career in that direction. But why is cybersecurity interesting in the first place? Well, you've probably heard it's a very lucrative field because there's a lot of demand in the market for cybersecurity professionals, and there's simply not enough supply or not enough professionals in the field to meet that demand. Also, with some of the higher profile security breaches in recent years, it's more important than ever for organizations to be more diligent about safeguarding customer data and intellectual property. So again, that's why the demand is what it is today. But before you go headfirst into any cybersecurity degree program or certification program that costs a boatload of money and time, I would recommend, and this is what I'd recommend for anybody looking to do a career pivot, is to explore all the free resources you can related to that field. So in my case, when it came to cybersecurity, my interest in it was not as much for the career prospects, it was more out of genuine curiosity for the topic. Especially being a professional in tech, I felt it was a subject that I needed to be better educated on. So after researching a ton of different courses online, I came across one on Coursera that was head and shoulders better than the rest and perfect for beginners. And I will tell you the name of that course, but only after you hit that like button down below. Of course, for the YouTube algorithm. Okay, honor system, I trust that you did that, so I'll continue. That course is called Introduction to Cybersecurity, which is offered by NYU's Tandon School of Engineering. Now, I call it a course, it's actually termed as a specialization. Now, this is a designation that Coursera gives to a series of courses that make up a topic, as is the case here. There are 4 courses involved in this specialization. Introduction to Cyber Attacks, Cyber Attack Countermeasures, Real-Time Cyber Threat Detection and Mitigation, and Enterprise and Infrastructure Security. Now the specialization and the courses that I mentioned, I've got links in the description below that you can go and check out for yourself. And as far as what I'm going to be talking about next, which is an overview and sort of a review of this course, I'm not going to give away much in terms of content, but I will explain to you in some detail why I thought this course is perfect for beginners. For starters, and above all, the professor was fantastic. Ed Amoroso has a ton of experience in the industry, in the field, and he brings a passion and enthusiasm for cybersecurity that's really infectious to anyone. It doesn't matter what the subtopic is of cybersecurity, he can get you engaged and interested in the material, no problem. The way he presented was also very engaging, really good pacing, and the topics and the way in which he structured all the different subtopics in cybersecurity made a lot of sense to me. And secondly, the course is focused on the foundational concepts of cybersecurity. It didn't go into necessarily the weeds of you're not going to turn into a coder. I'll tell you that much with this course. You're not going to be coding. They keep it pretty surface level, but then they'll unpack a few key concepts in cybersecurity, what types of attacks organizations might expect, how they can manifest, and what you can do to counter that. and how do you think about enterprise level security. So they'll cover a lot of those concepts at a higher level. Now, what you'll learn in this course is that no organization is ever going to be 100% risk-free, and that's partly because there are new threats that emerge every day, and also because the more you try to get to 100% risk-free, which is again theoretical, not really possible, but the closer you try to get to that, the more money you're going to be spending on security. And there's diminishing returns, of course. The more money you spend at a certain point, it's just not going to do a whole lot of good. But then there's also the risk of impacting employee productivity. So ultimately, it's a business decision where you make an investment and you are expecting certain outcomes. So you really do a cost-benefit analysis and you ask the question of how much security do I really need to mitigate the majority of cybersecurity risks? How much budget do I have to spend on such measures, and how will that impact employee productivity? Now, to better conceptualize what I just mentioned, we've all had experiences where at work you're asked to change your computer's password every 90 days or every 60 or 180 days. It's different for every company. Every company has a different security practice when it comes to passwords. But what if I told you that the company is looking to improve their security measures, so they're going to ask you to update your password every single day? Now, although that would be quite secure, and I honestly couldn't imagine a company doing that today, as that is an extreme example that I'm mentioning, but imagine what that would do to your productivity if you had to go in and update your password every single morning. It wouldn't be very fun and you lose a lot of time. So it costs the company money for you to have lower productivity. It also costs the company money if their IT personnel is having to field questions about lost passwords. Now, that's just one example of many, and that's something I think that we can all relate to a little bit. But every organization has to weigh the trade-offs when it comes to additional security versus cost versus employee productivity. And that's the main idea that the course tries to drive home. So that's really the big idea in this specialization, this series of courses, which is it puts cybersecurity in a business investment lens, which, as I mentioned earlier, is great for beginners, because if you do decide to pursue cybersecurity even further, whether you go into the weeds as far as learning how to code and developing or dissecting code, or if you're at a higher level in cybersecurity and you're trying to define the policy and security guidelines for the organization, you have a foundational understanding of what you're trying to accomplish with the cybersecurity practice at the organization. Folks, I hope this video gave you a little bit more context on the courses that are offered here in the specialization, and gives you a little bit more perspective on what it means to go into cybersecurity, and gives you some idea of whether or not this is something you want to pursue further. Again, as I mentioned earlier, all the links to these courses are in the description below, so feel free to visit them and check them out when you get a chance. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you around.